doing. So I'm glad that they know what we're doing. No, in all seriousness, no. I think, we've been incredibly... acts of kindness, we've been incredibly lucky.
Yeah,
Those guys have really and we're really thankful for that. I did bring you to speak about Liverpool in terms of their great start to the season and the fact that they're going to go on and win the Premier League this season.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
And you can clip this up if you guys want. I'm now saying it's in their hands. If they lose it, it's a bottle job, and that can be clipped up.
I'm going to say it loud and say it proud with chest today. I think Liverpool's going to win the Premier League this season. Because it was a female counsellor. I thought, here we go. I didn't really think that, as a man, do I really need to do this? How was I behaving and managing myself in this way?
But when something's not wrong, when something's not right upstairs, which isn't visual, it isn't naked to the eye, we kind of neglect it.
Yeah.
And that's a bag of problems for me.
It's the relationship between you and your therapist that is key.
Share some stuff that, I've been through personally. Let's start. So, building off the back of last week, and as I said, really brilliant guest last week, Anthony. So thank you, and thanks for that. But when you mentioned that we were going to have a look at dip our toe into counselling and kind of look at some of the myths or concerns that people may have around entering counselling and therapy. Yeah, sure. So that's what we kind of as a trio kind of decided we were going to look at. So my first question to you, both of you, is before we get into more of the technical side, is and if you're prepared to share, and that's fine because it's let's be honest, but have you both experienced or gone through counselling individually, and if so, was it useful? So
do you want to kick off?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, please, Win.
Yeah, so let's be honest. Yeah, I've been to two different types of counselling. I went to personal counselling and to relationship counselling, and I kind of see counselling. It's like any other service to me. It's like if I need my car fixed, I go to see a mechanic. If I've got a problem with my health, I go to see a doctor, and so on and so forth. So counselling for me is just another one of those services. So I've had an experience of going to relationship counselling once. I say I went once. I went with one person a number of times. My initial thoughts of when I got there, because it was a female counsellor, I thought, here we go. Got two women, they're going to gang up on me now. My ears are going to get rabbited off, and it's going to be a big problem, and I'm going to shut down and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But it wasn't. It was pretty good, actually. I felt like having a third party within the conversation about our relationship issues kind of helped us, I found it beneficial to give me guidance on what the problems were and how to kind of look at those issues and how to potentially rectify them by coming up with a plan of action to resolve the problems. So genuinely, I thought it was pretty good, even though I had my restraints beforehand. I didn't really think that, as a man, do I really need to do this? Wasn't really my bag at that particular point in time. But most things like that generally isn't. But like I said, it's like a service. So I thought, you know what, let's go and see what this service is offering. And I thought it was beneficial, 100%.
What about the what about the personal? Like not the relationship one. What about the personal one, bro?
Personal, slightly different. I would say that with regards to the personal side of things, again, it was very beneficial and it's very helpful. I was at a point where I needed to kind of dig a little bit deeper onto some of the issues that I was facing, and some of my behaviors that I was kind of expressing to other people. I kind of wanted to find out, what was this all about? Why was I behaving and managing myself in this way? So I went counselling to kind of like just have a little discussion about that. And again, I thought it was beneficial. And it's been very helpful, since then and going on into the future like now. I feel like it's it's given me coping mechanisms to deal with some negative emotions and negative thinking strategies. So where before it was, I had a way of kind of managing and dealing with emotions, which were negative and having a negative effect on me and the relationships that I was in. I've now got tools in the bag, so to speak, that I can use not to make those same kind of emotional, rational decisions. And I have systems of dealing with that. And that's what the therapy, counseling kind of taught me. And yeah, it's been beneficial. But, you know, there's still room for more. Because let's face it, nobody's perfect here, and everybody has traumas, and everybody's got, you know, negative, thinking strategies or patterns. So for me, it's been a great help and very beneficial. I would definitely encourage people, if they do have a problem or an issue that they're facing, and they're not sure what to do, go on, reach out to one of these services, one of these counseling services that might be able to support you to resolve these kind of negative thinking strategies or patterns or behavior. So from my point of view, it's been definitely very helpful. Although it's not something that you really want to kind of like talk to everybody about, but I believe that having a discussion with you guys about it, potentially the people that are viewing, seeing that we're out there, we're a few guys having an honest discussion about ourselves and men's health and women's health, relationships, things that are going on in the world in general. It's good to have these discussions. Things have changed over the years with regards to how men and women react in relationships, or how people react in relationships in general. Things were a little bit more blasé back in the day, but now things are a bit more unclear of how to manage situations. So it's good to kind of get counseling, because it gives you coping mechanisms and skills to get through the kind of like the dark periods of time. That's my thought.
Brilliant. Nick?
Mine, without getting too heavy, was trauma from childhood. I'll kind of leave it at that for the minute. Now, on other platforms, I've spoken openly about that before, and I'm happy to do that on here, but I'm aware that we've only got half hour. You guys are well aware of my history, etc., which I've got to say, it surprised me. I went in to therapy thinking, right, I'm going in to talk about, like, when I was younger, I'm going in to talk about my insecurities within relationships, my insecurities as in whatever's going on here. Within 2 or 3 sessions, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something which seems very left field to it, and not realizing that actually there was a huge connection between those two things, between what I was talking about and said insecurity. And it was kind of cobwebbing that together, for want of a better expression. Just that there is a connection here, and it's how to navigate that for myself. Massive, just almost those light bulb moments is what it done for me, where there was a mixture of tears and laughter, because I was kind of, what the funk is going on? Here's a guy who thinks he knows himself, and really I've been clueless up until that point. So I started therapy, if I'm honest, when I was about 16. I needed to go then. So I dipped in and out. And then again, without going too far, because Michael, I want your take on it. So for me, it's been massively beneficial. I can't recommend it highly enough, but of course, I'm biased. I'm extremely biased about this profession, But Mike,
and we'll come on to that in a minute.
What's your take?
What you made. I think therapy for me is it's kind of mandatory, really, for me personally, in terms of the experiences that I've had with it. I had therapy in sort of my mid-30s, and that was in relation to a bereavement I experienced in my late teens. should have, retrospectively, I should have gone into therapy when that happened, but it was sort of the early 90s. It wasn't in vogue. It wasn't widely publicized, and I wasn't really encouraged to do it. So, you just kind of put a band-aid over things, really, and you put it into kind of a pocket or a department, and you leave it there, and you hope you never ever see it again. But unfortunately for me, things came back to me like a thief in the night, so to speak, when in my mid-30s, and I had, for want of a better word, a breakdown, really, an emotional breakdown, sort of in my sort of mid to late 30s. Spoke to my sister about it, and she recommended that I go and seek some support and through therapy and counselling. I had to kind of, you kiss a few frogs before you find the right one, or whatever. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I had to, exactly. So I had to see a few before I landed on a person who I felt that I was comfortable with and I could identify with. And it was one of the best things that I ever did, really, because just touching on what you said, Win, it kind of taught me a lot in terms of sort of that emotional toolbox, really. So I kind of work off, so it's things that I use now, really. So I try not to get too high and I try not to get too low. And when things are getting a bit low, I kind of revert back to what I was taught in those sessions to kind of, rebalance myself, to reset myself, because I don't think it's not job and done. I don't know, and we'll go on that in a minute, but I don't believe that it's ever job and done. And I think there are going to be times that we're going to have to, challenging times that we're going to need to kind of fall back on what we've been taught to kind of navigate our way through life. So just to round that back up in a nutshell, I'm very pro therapy.
Yeah.
I think it's very underrated. I think if you break your leg or you injure a physical part of your body, you're going to go A&E, you're going to go hospital, and you're going to go and fix that straight away. But when something's not wrong, when something's not right upstairs, which isn't visual, it isn't naked to the eye, we kind of neglect it.
Yeah.
And that's a bag of problems for me, really. So therapy for me, I'm very pro therapy, and I think we need to, and it's good. I think there's generally more awareness about therapy now than what there was 30, 40 years ago. But I still think there's a long way to go. So
I think you're right, because Anthony touched on it last week when we was having a discussion about friendship. There is more openness about this now, even in the workplace. We'll work in professional occupations, and there's lots of encouragement about counselling. We even have free counselling sessions at at my company that I work for. So that people are more aware of it now, and the younger generation can benefit from counselling if they wish to choose to take it up. I do think that some of the old school ways of doing things also has its advantages and disadvantages. For example, many moons ago, the family structure was pretty tight, so there was always someone, an uncle and auntie, that you could go to speak to about stuff, and you'd also have marital counsel to a certain degree, because you would probably find a lot of people, maybe back many moons ago, the marriage was a very important part of our society. So there was people that you could go to kind of talk to about marital issues. So over the years, things have kind of changed. Whether it's good or not, I don't know. But where those systems and structures or where those scaffolding that we had to keep relationships going, and those people that you can confide in, they're not so much nowadays. So this thing that we can use as a tool called counselling, I think that everybody should, if you feel that you need support, need help, I don't think you should shy away from it. I think you should go into it, get involved. And like you said, Mike, a minute ago, not every counsellor might not fit you personally. You might not, your spirit might not take with them. So you can move around to speak to all different types of counsellors. So I would encourage people to anyone listening that is going through any problems, relationship wise or personal, seek a counsellor, because they're there. It's a service. It's a support mechanism. Let's use them. Why not?
Excellent, guys. So thanks for that. Really, really useful. I want to get into kind of the myth busting kind of discussion, if you wouldn't mind. So, Nick, I hope you don't mind. Nick, I'm very aware, or for anybody that's you work in this profession at the moment. Mm-hmm. You work in counselling and therapy at the moment, and I thought what would be quite interesting if we could kind of just, walk us through really, what if somebody wanted to enter into therapy or counselling, what they would generally expect if they were to pick up the phone, knock on the door, arrive for a session. Mm-hmm. What would they generally expect from their counsellor? What would happen? So I pick up the phone and I ring you and say, I need support. What?
Sorry, Mike. Sorry. Yeah. Because of the subject matter, I was going to say, is that Michael Mendes?
And I would say no, because I'm in charge. Exactly. So sorry. Oh. I know. I left the door open, but anyway.
So in all honesty, in the private practice that I make sure it's small. I would, at the moment, I wouldn't see, because I'm working a 9 to 5 within, let's call it a helping profession. Within my private practice, I won't see no more than 3 a week at the moment, because I want to be engaged fully with the person that I'm working with. So let's say, for example, somebody phones or sends me an email and says, I want to get in touch, I want to come for a session. We arrange a time to meet, and when they arrive, one of the first questions I ask them is, and it can sound a bit manipulative. Again, I said to you, keep an eye on me because I don't want to run away with it. My bit will be, how are they feeling about being in that seat right there at that time, at that moment? 9 times out of 10, people will say to me, I'm fine. And then I will be really honest with them and say, okay, because I'm anxious, I'm nervous, because I want this to work. Now, the reason why I'm saying that from a heartfelt place is because I give a bleep. I genuinely care about human beings. I need to clarify that. Individually, I love human beings. As a collective, I think we're absolute idiots, right? But as I've got an individual in front of me, I want to help this person the best I can. Again, clarification. I want to help them to help themselves. So we have something within my therapeutic stance called UPR, which is unconditional positive regard. So if somebody knocks on my door, I don't need to see the person. I know that as a fellow human being, I have an unconditional positive regard for the fact that you're trying, you're struggling, and you're trying to get help for yourself. That's a really positive stance for me, that my bit here is, okay, now, me saying to them I'm nervous is me showing what's called congruence. I'm just being transparent. I'm just being honest. This is cool, let's be honest. For the back of that, sorry, Mike, go on.
You mentioned the word congruence.
Which basically means congruence basically means whatever's going on inside here, whatever you're thinking and feeling. So if I'm feeling really low right now, and then you said to me, how you feeling? And I say, I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling wonderful. That's incongruent. It's not true. It's not. The inner and outer is not working together. Yeah. So I'm trying to show that person, this is what's going on for me. That unconsciously gives permission for the other person to do the same. They may still choose not to, because both of you have alluded to one thing within therapy. It's who your therapist is. It's so much more important, in my opinion, than the theory behind the person. So it's the relationship between you and your therapist that is key. That's number one. That's at the top of the list of, in my opinion, above theory. So whether it's psychodynamic, whether it's humanistic, whether it's behavioral, all of those are good if done correctly, and you've got that relationship with your therapist.
And just for clarification, they are different types of therapy.
Different theories, different modalities or ways of working. But the thing is, it has to be on a level playing field. So if you go in there thinking your therapist is going to fix you, in my opinion, don't go to therapy. If you're going in there that I'm going to basically do my utmost to help myself here. I'm going to get some techniques, I'm going to get some ideas, I'm going to open up genuinely about what's going on, and then explore this stuff to help fix. Then you're doing the work. It's hard work as a client. Let's not kid. And this bit about, no need to be nervous when you go and see a therapist. Rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. Of course it's nervous. You're going to kind of expose your inner, for want of a better word, your inner demons. What you're fighting with. It's hard work. It's scary.
Yeah.
So again, I need to pause at the minute because otherwise I'll run away with it.
The thing is, it's quite refreshing because you get, for me, I found I had an opportunity to observe myself and my thoughts, my own feelings, and build a relationship with them. What I noticed that I had built up this brick wall with all of these negative qualities. One of them was like resentment, for instance. But after a period of time of going to counseling, what I found was I was able to build that brick wall again with different emotions, and those emotions were more supportive to positive reactions with to people and things in general. Like I said, it's still you still got to work on it. Those negative thoughts and feelings still come up. But at least I know now I've got the tools. I just need to reach into the bag now and just grab it out. Just grab out the positive emotion and put it back in place. Look, we're talking about Winston. There's the right one. That one fits better. Try that one. And generally when you do, because it's something that you've observed and you understand to be negative for your own personal development. And I'm a person about personal development. If I'm not, personally developing every year at least, or in changing something about my character that I feel is holding me back, then you're not developing. So let's be real here and let's be honest with ourselves. Nobody's Superman here. I'm Superwoman. We have to keep building on what we have to benefit ourselves and the community that we're in.
Thanks. Just on that choice of therapist though. So if somebody's looking to go into therapy and that choice of therapy, that choice probably would be dependent on what type of therapy they want, whether it's humanistic or CBT, whether they want a male, whether they want a female, whether it's bereavement.
Yeah, let's look at that. Sorry, Inch. Let me say to you this, right? So before you two went into therapy, was you aware of the modality before you went in? Did you know that this is...
When you say modality, what the problem is, you mean?
No. Did you know whether your therapist was working from psychodynamic, analytic, CBT?
No.
And this is my point. This is why I'm saying it's all about your therapist. Your analogy might be... Sorry, Inch, you said about kissing frogs and then you found the right one. Absolutely. It's about finding that one that you can kind of connect with. That's so super important. That's what I'm saying. For me, that's above the theory.
Oh, rather than the theory.
I think it's theory. Yeah,
it's because personal view. Yeah, personal view. Yeah,
personal view. But it's also it's you that's doing the work. When Win went into therapy, okay, he's having a to and fro with a therapist, but the reality is, it's Winston that's putting himself out there. It's Winston that's kind of saying this stuff.
Yeah.
So when a client comes, my first thing is, how are you feeling about being here? Number one, and then two, why now? Because whatever you've come with didn't happen this morning.
Yes.
This has been going on for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. But something's happened to make you send that email, to make you make that phone call.
Yes.
So my bit now is, take me on this journey with you, and I'm honoured to come with you. So all of my preconceived ideas and opinions about things, I have to leave them aside. They're not relevant. I have to really hear what's going on for the client and really be there with the client. And then we can lay that out together. And then we, mainly the client, we can make sense of it. A lot of that is ego busting, not only myth busting. A lot of this is ego busting. A lot of this is all to do around that stuff as well.
Guys, fantastic. I'm well aware of time.
Yes.
All right, and I think this subject isn't finished by a long chalk, as they say, up north in Liverpool.
Absolutely.
So I think we
North
we
London?
will be we will be revisiting this, and I think probably need another session at least before, because there are some other theories I'd like to discuss in terms of principles, and I also just want to just speak about some, share some stuff that I've been through personally. So I would be very grateful if we could do another pod on that, just to clear those things up, if you guys are in agreement with that.
Absolutely.
So
I think also, go on, Nick.
No, I was just going to ask you guys, but please, Win, finish your bit, and then I'll ask the question after, please.
Yeah, I would really like to know what the general public that watch our podcast have to think, what they think about counselling, and do they think it's a good idea to engage, and if they actually have had counselling. It's funny because I spoke to two people today, and not today, but this week, and I said to them that they were asking me what we're doing in terms of conversation, and I said we're going to be talking about counselling, and they were like, "Well, I've been counselling." I was like, "What? I've known you for this amount of time. You've never told me that you've gone counselling. We've never had this discussion. I've been counselling as well." So it opens up the topic to everyone to kind of like have a discussion about it. So if we could get some feedback on it, it'd be much appreciated.
Cool. Win an inch. I'm just going to ask genuinely, because this is, as you know, this is my passion. So I'm trying to kind of hold this back quite a bit. But
yeah, I'm
shocked at how quick this one's gone today. But I'm not saying whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm asking, how did you experience today? Because this needs to be lifted, and this is another thing, Win, where you've just been speaking to people that watch. We're not going to cut this bit out. Let's just leave this in, because it's about being real, right? So, how have you found today's?
I think first thing, I've just got to echo what you said. Today's flown by, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? The first couple of weeks, I don't know, but I just think the conversation and the stuff, and it's at times just gone like that. But I was really looking forward to tonight. Not that I haven't been looking forward to the other nights, but I was really looking forward to tonight because I've generally got a keen interest in this subject matter, because I like the mind and I like the study of human behaviour, and I just wanted to kind of listen and kind of drink it all in, really, because I've got more questions than answers, and that's why I'm looking forward to some further discussion on this subject matter. Yes.
Win, how have you found tonight?
I'd agree, and I would add that there was definitely an element of nervousness, because it's not something that I know much about apart from my own personal experiences. So I'm really just talking about it as a customer, really. I don't really know much about the analyticals of counselling, but what I do know, it's a very good service, and we should use it, if we need it.
So thank you, gents. If I could just finish off by saying, similar to you, Win, I was absolutely bricking it today, and the reason, and I know that I will be over the next two. Genuinely, Mike, I was genuinely bricking it, and here's the reason why: is because, let's say, for example, my wheelhouse is humanistic therapy, person-centered specifically. We could do 10 hours on just that one theory. Then existentialism, you could do another 10, easy, maybe more. Psychodynamic, analytics, CBT, REBT. So there's no way that in, say, 3 or 4 conversations we're going to get it all. But my bit is, and I think we're in agreement, which is to say to people, yes, it's going to be scary. That's part of the process. The nervousness and the anxiety is part of it. But it's a really cheesy quote that it talks something along the lines, and I'm going to get it wrong, but it's a cheesy quote that says, you would change when the fear of staying the same is heavier than the change. And I totally agree with that. So, and I know it's a bit confusing, but the thing is, if you're so scared of staying the same that something needs to give, that could be the push. And I get that. But let's not pretend for a second that it's not going to be a bit nervous going in there, because it will be. It can be. You're going into a stranger to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, just adding to that, Nick, is I felt like before that snap point that said to me, yo, listen, you need to investigate this a bit more, was the love of the environment that I was in. I respected it and wanted better for it. So I felt like, look, let's look inwards, because there's no point in me looking at what you're doing. I got to look at what I'm doing, because no doubt, two people could be, thrashing stuff out, and they might be right, you might be right, we don't know. But what I do know, if I identify something about myself that's not right, I need to change it. So, so for me, that's how it kind of made me kind of jump into doing counselling.
If engine management light comes on in your car, you go straight to a garage. As soon as you can afford it, you go to a garage, and you get that stuff.
No doubt.
But yet we got engine management lights all over the place, and we look like a discotheque, and we're not doing nothing with
Absolutely.
It. Absolutely.
And you can imagine, know what happens when your engine management lights happen.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Head gasket gone.
It's gone. Yeah. It's gone. Way gone. Cut and shut.
Cut and shut.
I think on that point, we should wrap up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we should wrap up. But do you know, just on the relationship thing between the client and the therapist.
Yeah.
In the words of Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Just thought I'd shoehorn that in, Inch. But because I'm aware that you've done some teaching and stuff like that in the past. And I know we've spoken about this before, but I just think it's just a really beautiful analogy, really, because not everybody, like any job, I suppose any job, sometimes you either suit it or you don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if you're happy to, can you just give the analogy of the example, for students or prospective students, or whether or not the course was suitable for them?
Oh,
can I just say?
Yeah.
No, before you go into that, leave that for next week. Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh.
Let's stop right here.
Ooh.
Let's ask people to, give your comments, subscribe, and we'll continue that discussion next week.
So just before we come off there, let me big up Anthony. Thank you, bro, because without you, it would the intro and outro that you've done, brother. Thank you so much. Is his nickname now the Irregular? Because we're gonna want him on every now and again. Don't know.
The Enforcer.
The Enforcer.
Yeah, and can I just say that was a really good idea. Every 15 years or so, you come up with a corker of an idea. So I think
it's long overdue, Win. Actually, it's long overdue. And the other one is producer Ree. He's done some music for us that I need to talk to Anthony about. That hopefully we're going to have as our own theme for this.
Ooh.
Which
when's that going to be ready then? When's that going to be ready?
Soon? I'll be honest with you. This is out of respect for Anthony as well, because it's ready. I can do it. However, Anthony's done so much work for us behind the scenes that it would just be pig ignorant of us to just cut off the work he's done. 100%. So I want to have that conversation with him.
100%.
100%. Anyway, peace
and
love.
Let's not forget, big up Sue as well, and who commented and gave us some input last week.